All right, everybody. What's going on? Good evening, or evening doesn't even feel right to say because it's so late, but how's everybody doing? Good to see you guys. Not expecting a big turnout because it is very late, but I like to stream after every Seahawks game, and this game should be no exception. So, what's going on? Cy, Gunner, Corey, how you guys doing? Hey, Washi. I'll give people a couple minutes to gather up. Hey, Jam Fishing. Well, Jam Fishing, if what you say is true, then the reason why the game was close was because of the refs. I don't think there's anything to feel not good about if the game was only close because of the refs. Like that's not anything that we're in control of. So I don't think that makes a lot of sense. Either you feel good because we won despite the refs, or you feel bad because the game was so close. I don't know. Hey, Matthew. Thoughts on Jason Myers? He's fine. You're not going to make every kick. And he made the one he needed to make, so it's whatever. He's a good kicker. He's off to a good start this year. Overall, I'm not down on him at the moment. Don't see any reason to be. Well, I told you guys the game was going to be weird and kind of dumb, right? Like there was definitely going to be some funky stuff in that game that made the game play out in a way that it shouldn't have. How bad is the D-Law injury? According to D-Law himself, not bad, but we don't know. D-Law indicated it's no big deal, but you happy about the way we won? I don't know if happy's the right word, but I'm fine with it. It happens. It happens. Like sometimes the game doesn't sometimes things don't go your way at the end. I think there were some questionable calls in this game that kept it closer than it needed to be, and at the end of the day you still won. Like that's going to happen. This is not a team that is really built to blow a lot of teams out. I know we blew out the Saints, but this is not a team that I expect to just punish opponents. Why didn't we push on 4.5, fourth and half a yard? The only thing I can think of is that Bradford was injured, so they didn't want to push behind Bradford. That's the only thing I could think of. But then they ran behind him, so it's like, well, does this win make you feel better or worse about the team? It has to be better. How could it not be better? Like you just won a divisional game on the road on the short week. The path you took to get there is kind of irrelevant in comparison. I'm not saying I'm thrilled about every single thing that happened in that game, but it's still worth way more to win. Our schedule isn't as easy as we thought. Every team in our division is at least decent. Colts, Jags, and Bucks all look good. It's still a pretty reasonable schedule, Gunner. I mean, I don't. I mean, we knew the Bucks were going to be at least pretty good, right? We knew that. I thought the Jags would be good. The Colts being this good are surprising to me. I will admit that. The Colts being good are surprising. Abe Lucas isn't playing up to his contract. That was bad today. Something's up. Something's not right. Lucas has not been that good this year. I agree, Pretentious Cameron. All right, we got about 50 people in here. I don't expect to get that much more tonight, to be honest. We're going to stream until about midnight, and then I'm going to get out of here. But good to see everybody. So what is allowed within 5 yards? Because that wide receiver, the one-hand catch on fourth down, went to block, then full arm extended push off of the DB. Well, that possibly could have been OPI, and they just didn't call it. I wouldn't look to that play and say, this defines what the rule is. Hey, Drew Brandley. When's the last time our defense has been this good? Probably 2016. Yeah, that's a good point. CD Woods makes a good point. The Texans look like they're bad. So the Colts are good, but the Texans are bad. So I don't think the strength of schedule changes. The main thing that's also, keep in mind, by the time we play the Niners, they're going to be so beat up. Like, they're not going to have Bosa, so they're going to have very little pass rush unless they trade for Trey Hendrickson. By that point in the season, Kittle and Williams and probably Fred Warner are going to be incredibly beat up because they're aged players. The tush push doesn't need to be brought out every 4th and short because once they figure out how to stop it, they can't stop it though, Jeffrey. That's why it's such a good play. It's almost impossible to stop. Like, it's going to work way more often than a shotgun draw. What do you think about Spoon's game? I thought he played fine. He had one kind of sort of bad play that I'm not even convinced was a bad play. JSN was really mad about the holding call. Was it really that bad? It was very questionable. I don't know if it was bad, but it was certainly ticky-tack. You going to attend any Mariners postseason games? I think so, Julian. I think so. I just don't know which one. Only teams in the NFC that are definitely better than us are Eagles and maybe Lions. Something like that. I mean, I feel like the Packers are pretty legit. And I'm a Packers doubter. Thoughts on Darnold through week 4? He's playing good. I think Darnold's good. Better than I would have expected. I still wonder what happens if we ever get to a point where we have to really open up the offense and he has to throw the ball 35, 40 times a game. But hopefully it never gets to that point. Keep hearing once Emenwari gets back, the D will start running some exotic looks. Any insights into what is planned? Well, I think they can do more blitzing because Emenwari's a good blitzer. I think that his size just allows them to do different things. Yeah, I don't really think Spoon was that bad tonight. I think people are being a little overly critical. Do you think we beat the Buccaneers? I can't even really think about that right now. I'm not even tripping on that right now. I'll figure it out later. Yeah, I didn't agree with the Kobe Bryant fumble. I didn't agree with the holding on JSN, but I don't think either call was definitive. I think they were questionable. I don't think either one was just terrible. I think they were bad calls. I don't think they were egregiously bad calls. I think they are the bad calls that happen over the course of a game. What do you think about the interior O-line, Center and Bradford looking kind of bad? Well, that was to be expected. I'm not really upset about it because we knew those guys were the weak links and we just have to live with it. So I'm not really too down on it. No, the giving yourself up rule applies to everybody. I think you could argue he didn't give himself up, I guess, but I don't know. To me, he was down. As far as I'm concerned, he was down. Kubiak's play calling to me felt experimental. That's how I felt. It feels like Kubiak's experimenting with the offense. I don't want to say it's incompetence yet. Okay, I mean, you could argue that experimentation cost us a week 1 game at home against a division rival. Don't know how great I feel about that. Do we trade for better O-line? You can. Good offensive line players almost never get traded. They're too valuable. You can't trade for improvements there. And baked into that is the problem that even if you do, that guy's going to have to integrate himself into your offensive line, which takes time. That's going to take months for him to get familiar with his teammates. I mean, I'm fine with calling screens, but the screens need to work sometimes, man. Like, what are we practicing here? We have a mobile offensive line. These are mobile players. These are guys that can play in space. Yeah, well, again, Zabel's a rookie. It's not surprising. You don't ever really expect an offensive lineman that is a rookie to be great. It doesn't happen very often. All right, we got about 80 people in here, so I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Please like the stream, subscribe if you're new, click the bell for notifications, become a channel member for $2 a month. Oh, we have our first super chat. Oh, I didn't hook up the sound right, but thank you, Bill, for the first super chat of the night, $9.99. That should have been read out loud on stream. It was not. Sorry about that, everybody. The next super chat or tip or super chat or tip will be read out loud on stream. You can super chat by clicking the $ in the chat. You can tip by clicking the link near the top of the description for the stream. Those are the best ways to support. Love the content, man. So far, who do you think has the best chance at Pro Bowl / All-Pro this year from our defense? It'll probably still be Big Cat because he's got the rep. I think Big Cat would make it. Ernest Jones might be playing at that level too, by the way. Those would be the two guys that I think are most likely. If Kobe Bryant keeps getting picks, it'll probably be him too. I'm not saying he necessarily deserves it.
Shotgun worse, Seahawks run game or Dick Cheney? Hope the Cards don't fold and still beat up the Rams and 09ers.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about the Cardinals. Their defense played a little bit tougher than I thought. That's a better defense than I initially gave it credit for, but that offense is so dead. That offense, it's Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. whenever he's locked in, and that's it.
Just sending support for all you do. Thank you for being Crit Cal when it's needed.
Thank you for the $5, Jesse. Appreciate the support. Thank you. What happened with Knight? Apparently we're just rotating him. I don't know if it's because he's still working his way back. I don't know if they don't like what he's doing. But there is a rotation going on there, and I'm not super into it. I got to be honest. Like, to me, Knight is the more talented player. Knight is the better player, and Drake Thomas is just very, very capped. By the way, guys, the chat's moving kind of quick right now, so I'm not going to be able to get to every message. I'll do what I can. Oh, Darnold running it for a huge first down tonight. That was cool to see. Yeah, he can do that. He ran for a 50-yard touchdown when he was a Jet one time, I think. But yeah, he can do that. Yeah, I thought about that too. They were talking about Baker Mayfield a lot. Is Baker Mayfield playing in the next Thursday night football game? No, he's not. He's playing us. So it's like it doesn't really make sense. Do you think JSN, Horton, and Bobo is good enough with a day 2 or 3 rookie next year at receiver? Probably not. I think that if you need to move off of Cup this offseason, you probably need to spend a first-round pick on a receiver.
Didn't like KK's game at all. Throw the ball.
Thank you for the $2 catch. Yeah, and to me, I don't mind running the ball because this team is built to run the ball and they need to figure that out eventually. Like, I'm okay with running the ball a lot, but I do think that you need to force these teams out of it a little bit. They're playing way too up, it feels like. They're not respecting JSN as a number 1 wideout. And you need to knock them out of it a little bit. And in this game, I don't feel like we did a very good job doing it.
Do you think Aman Warrior will be effective next game?
Thank you for the $1.99 Creo. I would hope so. If he can't be effective, he shouldn't play. And he was very close to playing this week, so he should be fine. Knight had a clutch tackle in this game. Yeah. He had a tackle for loss as well. I thought Knight played fine, but that was just on initial watch, right? I need to rewatch the game before I conclude anything about the way Knight played. But yeah, Emin-Wari, if he's not effective, then he shouldn't play. Because the secondary is honestly doing okay without him. Unless you think that getting Emin-Wari back allows us to push Woolen off the field, and you want that, which I think a lot of people do at this point. Any updates on D-Law? He said he was okay, but we'll see. He is old. Think about it. Like, when you get that injury when you're 24, it's one thing, but when you get that injury when you're 34, who knows? But I imagine he'll be fine. I didn't get the indication that it was a big problem. And the defense survived without him. I'm not saying they played great, but they survived. How are we feeling about our DBs up against?
I love the 3-1 start, but I don't know what to feel about this team. The defense looks good as a unit, but Woolen is a ghost of his former self in year 4, and the offense is super inconsistent. Ugh.
How are we feeling about our DBs up against Egbuka, Evans, Otton, and even Bucky Irving? Well, Evans isn't going to play, so, throw that one out a little bit. But JRD, thank you for the $10. I don't think the offense is even that inconsistent. I think the offense is just mediocre. I think the offense is just okay, and it's not surprising, right? We're talking about an offense that has a pretty lackluster offensive line, and we knew the offensive line wasn't going to be that good. The receivers are probably about average league-wide. I know JSN's better than anybody could have reasonably expected, but the receiver core as a whole is probably about league average. It's not a surprise that they're a mediocre offense, and I guess that's okay. I think they need to get a little bit more from the ground game, but a mediocre offense is not really a surprise to me. What happened to Evans? He got hurt. I'm done with Reek. We need some capital for him and move on. There's no way anybody's going to give up anything in a trade for him. Hey, Beyblade. I feel like it's Mike making Kubiak call these safe calls. I don't know why we would assume that. Mike is a first-time head coach, and he has to think about the defense. Why would he be sticking his nose into the offense? Like, I seriously doubt that's the case. If McDonald wasn't calling plays for the defense, I could maybe believe that, but no, I don't buy that. All right, thank you for the 100 viewers. We have 100 viewers on YouTube right now. We just hit there, so what's up, everybody? Really, you think we can't get anything? Well, we could get like a 6th-round pick maybe, but we're not going to get anything real, I don't think. Why would anybody give up anything for a guy who has been pretty miserable every game so far this season? I don't understand how he gets worse. Like, it's one thing to get a little bit worse, but he is so much worse at finding the ball in the air. It's bizarre. Yeah. And the thing that really kind of hurts is that Woolen is making a decent amount of money this year because of the bonuses.
Learning Chinese.
Thank you, Gemini Panda. He's so talented, I have to believe he's always going to have a place in the NFL. Somebody's going to want that guy. Somebody's going to feel like they can fix that guy, but I'm pretty down on him at this point. Bacon McDoubles aren't very good. I just like to get a normal McDouble. Normal McDoubles are good. But McDonald's bacon is not good. Reeking a 4th for Olave. I don't think that really makes sense for us to do, though. What are we going to do with Olave? He's going to get hurt, and we don't use receivers enough anyway. Pete would take him? Yeah, but what does Pete have to give up? And also, I don't know if this matters or not. Pete is not the GM in Vegas. Spytech is, and I don't know if Pete gets to just run the place the way he wants to. That's actually interesting, trading Reek for Jackson Powers Johnson. But again, the problem is you trade for an offensive lineman, you're going to need time. And by time, I mean months for them to integrate themselves into the offensive line. So there are still issues with that. Yeah, I don't know what to think about it. I don't understand how he got this much worse. Like, Trey Flowers got worse, right? Trey Flowers the first 2 years was okay, but he slipped a little bit and he was bad. Reek was legitimately playing at a Pro Bowl, All-Pro level. And now it just seems like he doesn't understand how to play the position. And a lot of people out there are trying to convince me that, like, the fourth quarter penalty on Woolen was a bad call, but I don't think that it was. Maybe I'm missing something, but to me that is pass interference, and I can't be mad about that call. Maybe somebody else is seeing it a different way, but to me that was the correct call. Like, his ball skills are the only reason why he was ever so great, and now he's just completely lost them. Darian Kendrick can only play in the slot, though, and I don't want to take him and Worry off the field. That's the problem. We need to trade for an elite corner. Well, they don't. Those elite corners are typically not on the trading block. I think Josh Jobe is just going to have to be the guy, and that's fine. He's not talented enough to be great every game, but he's very, very effective. What do you see Seattle giving up for Derek Brown or Dexter Lawrence? Well, Dexter Lawrence, I think you give up the farm for. I think you give up whatever it takes, pretty much. Derek Brown, I don't know. Derek Brown, I'm not so sure. 111 viewers, by the way. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Hey, Space. Dexter Lawrence is not a huge gamble. He is probably the best defensive lineman in football right now. How is that a gamble? It's like saying somebody's going to give me $1 million. This is a huge gamble. Like, what's the gamble? No, I'm just getting $1 million. I haven't heard anything about Hankins in a long time, Ian. I don't know what to think about that. I don't really have anything to say about that, Ian. Jonathan Hankins might have been kidnapped by aliens. I don't know. I kind of haven't been thinking about him. Oh, right, guy. Welcome back to basic level membership. What's going on? Yeah, Asante Samuel's still a free agent. I don't know what his health is like, though. His leg might still be shredded. I have no idea. Derek Brown's in the first year of a new deal? Yeah. Yeah, probably not. Dexter Lawrence is a little more interesting, but even then, Dexter Lawrence might be too good to trade. And I know that's funny to say after Micah Parsons got traded, but sometimes a player is just too good to get traded because you can't make a deal for him. You think if we had gotten Parsons, we would be Super Bowl contenders this year? Possibly. The offense might still not be good enough, but it'd be very close. How about we pick up C.J. Gardner-Johnson? What will we do with him, though? C.J. Gardner-Johnson's a safety, right? Who are we taking off the field? I don't think that makes a lot of sense. You think UW has a chance versus Ohio State? Not really. I think our defense is just going to get dog walked. I think we'll score, but I can't imagine us keeping up. I just think our offense at the end of the year is going to end up being like league average or slightly above it, and that's fine, but I don't know if there's any level of elite defensive play that would make that a Super Bowl winner. Is Darnold better than Geno? I don't think so, but it's certainly a more interesting discussion than I would have initially thought. Panthers eat $15 million in dead cap if they trade Brown. That's actually not that bad, but how much would we owe him? Should definitely target a corner in the next draft. Yeah, would you trade for Jordan Brooks? I don't think he makes anything that much better, Drew. I don't think he makes anything that much better. Like, I know some people really like Jordan Brooks. I know. I never really saw it. I think he's all right. I think he's okay. I don't think that makes things better. Is JSN a top 5 receiver? I think he is. He probably has to keep doing it for a little while longer, but I think that he is. I think we're just at that point where if you compare him to a guy like Amon-Ra, yeah, Amon-Ra has more production, but Amon-Ra almost never is always a majority slot guy. CeeDee Lamb, same thing. I'm starting to think JSN is more valuable than those guys. I think that being able to play on the outside is just so much more valuable than the guys who just live in the slot where life is so much easier as a receiver. I think McDonald would make Brooks look like Patrick Queen. I mean, if he can do that with Brooks, he can probably do it with Knight, honestly. Like I don't know why Brooks is... And I know some people would disagree, but I'm not a big fan of Brooks's upside at this point. You think this is the game is the start of our pass rush finally coming together? Well, I don't think it ever needed to come together. I think it's been good all year, other than the first game, kind of. So I think it's just continuing on. Who do you think will get in the draft next year? I can't even begin to talk about that, Creo. We are so far away from that. I'm not even gonna speculate. We are so far away from being able to piece that one together. What'd you think of K9 this game? I think he kind of bailed us out with some of those long runs because most plays he was just getting blown up. He was getting blown up. This offensive line is not helping him. The entire right side is a mess. Is DeMarcus Lawrence okay? Apparently yes. Apparently yes. What do you JSN's new contract to look like? He might get $40 million a year, and I want to be very clear about this. I don't care. I am giving him the blank check. I do not care. However much it costs to get JSN, I am okay paying that cost. I do not care. I am so over pinching pennies. Yeah, Daily, I think people just want to see improvement. I think people just want to see things get better. And honestly, going with 10 wins last year, I think we need to win like 12 games this year for me to say that we got better, at least, because the schedule's easier. Any chance Roquan Smith is maybe available? Isn't he like 30 now? How old is Roquan now? I forget. Yeah, Horton dropped the catchable pass, but I don't know. I'm not too torn up about it. No blank check for DK. Well, here's the thing. We know that top free agents don't really want to come to Seattle. We know that. And that being the case, retain the top talent that you have. Like, retain the top talent that you have, whatever it takes. Like, I'm not... If we lose a guy like JSN or Spoon or Murphy, because of money, I'm going to lose my mind. So, like, what are we saving our cap space for? Like, we're getting to the point where I have to ask, like, what are we saving our cap space for? The top free agents aren't going to want to come here, and I don't even think we usually want them, so let's just spend the money on the good players we have. I think JSN has pretty clearly gotten to the point where he's better than DK probably ever was. And I'm really surprised by that because I didn't think JSN could play outside. But he's been very effective despite that. All right, guys. 60 seconds. Let me tell you about Sleeper. Before I go any further, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. If you're not using the Sleeper app this year for daily fantasy football, you are missing out. Take a look on the left side of your screen. Look at all the great stuff you can pick on over there. Let's put together an entry for this weekend. Here is mine. I've got Bijan Robinson scoring an anytime touchdown. Atlanta's offense is due for a breakout after last week's tremendous disappointment, scoring 0 points. I got Micah Parsons getting at least half a sack against the Cowboys. How is he not going to get a sack in that game? It's a revenge game for him. I got Rome Odunze with at least 59 receiving yards. He's feeling it right now. He's going up against the Raiders. Think he's going to do well. And I got DK Metcalf after 2 relatively slow games, getting at least 51 yards. Pittsburgh's having trouble running the ball. Time for DK to bust a big play or two. Get on over to Sleeper, put together your entry. You can get a $100 match on your first deposit with promo code SBN. Terms and conditions apply. Back to the video. All right, welcome back. Billy Henningsen, thank you for the $15 Australian. I don't know. I'm so pleased with Darnold and JSN. So many clutch plays already this season. Yeah, I mean what was I gonna say? The stuff that JSN was doing in this game, I know it was by statistics his worst game. Absolutely off the chain. Brendan is not winning his week 4 fantasy matchup. No, I might. I didn't have any Seahawks or Cardinals on my team. What are the odds we don't actually extend JSN? It would require him probably to have a career-ending injury between now and the extension. I'm fine with trading DK, but we should use the cap space we made. Yeah, the sitting on the cap space is interesting. And I'm thinking we're going to use that at the deadline, but I just don't know on who. Why top free agents don't want to come to Seattle? It's not a marquee destination. It's not LA. It's not Florida. It's not a top media market. It's not... The weather isn't that good. It's not... There's a lot of stuff that we just don't have. And, I mean, how many years in a row are we going to go into free agency with a ton of money and then not get any of the tier 1 or tier 2 players? It's always like tier 3 guys. Do you think we can get any trade value for Reek? Not really. I think everybody knows. I feel like everybody knows that Reek is really not worth much right now. I'd be very surprised if anyone would give up anything real for him. We live in a modern day NFL where Sam Darnold is better than Russell Wilson, sad to witness. Well, everybody's better than Russell Wilson right now, I think. I don't know. I'm just over the idea of, like, we're going to have all this free agency money to spend. It is like we end up signing 3 barely above replacement level guys. We end up signing Greg Olsen, right? We end up signing Luke Jokel. We end up signing guys like that. So just when you get primo talent, pay them whatever it takes and keep it together. Hey, Enamel. And, like, we never signed the marquee offensive linemen in particular. Think about the offensive linemen that we always end up with in the offseason. Guys like Gabe Jackson. We re-signed Ethan Posick one time, and I like Ethan Posick. But he's certainly not a marquee guy. Guys like Josh Jones, like I said, Luke Jokel. That's not the path, clearly. It's not the path we ever want to walk. Think about all the veteran offensive linemen we could have signed last offseason that we just decided not to. Is Barner better than Will Dissly ever was? Probably not. Those first 2 years, Will Dissly was really rounding into something special. Then he kept getting hurt. And I think he had like a 5-second 40 by the time the injuries were done, but he's still a pretty good player. Thoughts on the O-line today? Pretty bad. I did not think the offensive line was good today. Has Spoon peaked as a player? No. Why would we think that? I would have liked Ryan Kelly in this offense. Yeah, you could have gotten Ryan Kelly. You could have gotten Tevin Jenkins for cheap. Like, you could have signed Tevin Jenkins and he could have retired the next day, and I wouldn't have been mad because it was so cheap. You think Bucks will have Tristan Wirfs back for their game versus us? It sounds like they will, but I'm not sure. But Godecki's going to be out. Godwin's is going to be back. Mike Evans is going to be out, which is a big deal. Is Woolen washed? I'm pretty low on him at this point, I got to be honest. I know that there might be some Seahawks fans out there looking for that one Seahawks content creator that is still hopeful for Woolen, but that's not me. That's not me. I'm not there. Will Zabel improve, or is he up? Why you waste my time with this stuff, Pedro? Why do you come in here and ask stuff like that? Well, the only bad play Sam had was when he held onto the ball too long and got strip sacked. Like, he was standing in the pocket forever on that one play. That was the only play he had that I thought was, like, bad. Everything else was good, or at the very least, not bad. Well, the Buccaneers keep escaping. Somebody needs to punish that Buccaneers team. Maybe it's us, but somebody needs to punish that Tampa Bay team. They should not be 3-0. Not happy about it. Yeah, the cross push into the end zone was great. Oh, and I just noticed we just hit $50 in donation, so thank you to everybody who's donating. Appreciate that. And I know it's not on the tracker, but according to YouTube, we just hit 20,300 subscribers. I think. Let me make sure. Yeah, 20,300. So, thank you for that as well. If we go to 4-1, the NFC feels kind of sort of open because I don't know. I know Philly won. I know Philly keeps winning. I don't get the sense that team is all that great. I think that offense has real problems with no Kellen Moore, which surprises me because I didn't think Kellen Moore was that good, but no, they're missing Kellen Moore. If we extend Kobe Bryant, does it stop us from getting a comp pick for Reek? No. I don't think we're going to extend Kobe Bryant, though, because he's, we already kind of drafted his replacement. What are some moves or signings you think we can make in the offseason? Because I want to see us be at Super Bowl contention again. I think we need a real nose tackle, and I think we probably need to upgrade at wide receiver and maybe center. Something like that. No, JSN didn't get hurt. JSN did not get hurt. Like, even that first half, though. That first half, I felt like Kubiak was not doing a very good job scheming JSN open. I didn't feel like JSN was doing anything wrong. Maybe I'll watch the tape and feel differently, but I didn't get that sense. Yeah, I think Tampa's a little bit unsustainable, admittedly. Do you think we should have kept Damian Lewis? Mm, at this point, probably yes, because we haven't been able to replace him, but I was not a huge Damian Lewis fan, and I don't think he's a very good fit for our scheme. Do you think Kubiak's trying to use Milroe as some sort of Taysom Hill? I don't I don't think he's trying to use Milroe as much of anything. He's had one meaningful play this season. Like I think he's just here to be the backup or third string quarterback until later. Yeah. I'm a little worried about the Texans being desperate, but I feel like that's a game we should win. Like that offensive line is so bad, their play calling's bad. I think their defensive interior is soft. I don't think that Houston team is really good at all. I think they've got a good quarterback and some good players on the defense, like the edge rushers, like the corners and safeties, but I think they're kind of soft in the middle. I thought Milroe was here with the 4th and 1 or 4th and short. Yeah, we found something with the Barner tush push though. We need to keep using that. Like I don't understand why you don't whip that out every time, because they're going to outlaw the tush push soon, and then you're never going to be able to use it. With Nick Emenward coming back, do you expect Woolen to be phased out? That's really hard because I feel like McDonald likes him, but I don't know how stubborn Mike is going to be here. Like, all coaches are stubborn, but some coaches more so than others. It's really hard to know what Mike is going to do in this particular situation. Resign Love or Kobe? Love's better. Love is more versatile. If the Texans are surprise sellers, who would be interesting? Well, I'm assuming you can't trade for any of their young studs like Stingley or Anderson or Stroud, right? Or Nico Collins or the receiver they got from Iowa State. So I don't really know. Like, what? Are you going to trade for Laken Tomlinson? No. Are you going to trade for... What's the other edge rusher they have? Danielle Hunter? Like, I don't think you can trade for him. They just signed him. At what point does McDonald give up on Woolen? Is 2 seasons enough? Well, the thing is, Woolen was not bad last year. He had problems, he had bad games, he had bad moments, but he was not at all bad last year. He was actually really good. So it's not quite that simple. Have you talked about Spoon's coverage tonight and just general thoughts on it? I think he played fine. I don't know what he's supposed to do. These are incredible plays being made by receivers and the quarterback. It is what it is. Sometimes you get beat. Chase Stern, thank you for the member message. Good start to the season. Just want to say congrats on the sponsorship. Bench Woolen and the holding on JSN was bogus. Thank you, Chase. I appreciate that. Spoon's coming off an injury. That is true, but I don't think Spoon played bad. I know he gave up 2 touchdowns, but what is he supposed to do on the Marvin Harrison one? Marvin Harrison makes an incredible catch. Kyler makes a perfect throw, and Witherspoon's right there, man. Sometimes things just don't go your way. Elijah Vera Tucker's out for the season, Drew, isn't he? Isn't AVT out for the year? I feel like I saw that like a month ago. It's not a terrible idea, but I'm pretty sure he's done. Do you think with Darion Kendrick's run of good play the last 2 games, we can look at him to take up some of Woolen's snaps? Kendricks can't play outside corner, I don't think. He's too slow. He's a slot only guy as in my book. I know he's played some outside corner before, but I don't want him playing outside. So you can't take Woolen snaps and give them to Kendricks, I don't think. What's up with Boye Mafe? I think he's playing good. I don't have a problem with the way Mafe's playing. He's just not getting sacks. The sacks will come if he continues to play this way. Is Nick out for the year? No. He should be back next week. We're fine on Amenwari. Excuse me. Wow. How'd you feel about K9's taunting penalty? I mean, if you throw a ball at somebody, you're always going to get called for it. If you throw the football at somebody, you're going to get whistled. Like, I can't be mad about that. Don't do that. That's really what I can say about that. Who would you trade for? I don't have a name necessarily, but I would like to try to trade for a competent nose tackle. Somebody who can kind of just occupy the position for 20 snaps a game. Like the position the way it's meant to be played. And then I would probably call it good. I don't think anything else makes a lot of sense. If you can make a big home run swing for a guy like Dexter Lawrence, then yeah, that's different. But I don't think Dexter Lawrence is going to get traded. I think the Giants think he's too good to trade. And I know it might be smart for them to trade him, but I don't think the Giants are going to do smart things. Harrison Phillips on the Jets, but played for the Vikings last year. That's not bad. Replace AVT idea with Simpson from the Jets. Better. Again, trading for offensive linemen is tricky, but that's not bad. I'm not. I would definitely not mind banging on the Jets' door and seeing if anything falls off the tree. Was it me, or did some of K9's runs seem like really odd and goofy tonight? Like it worked sometimes, but he ran like he accidentally pressed the wrong button. There was a little bit of that, but it was all because there was penetration right in his face constantly. I don't feel like he played a bad game. I feel like that we're not blocking for him well. Excuse me. I don't know. The issues I have with K9 are so minor and insignificant compared to the issues I have with this offensive line run blocking. Okay. When is the trade deadline, by the way? What is it, a month away? Something like that. Why was Spoon playing man coverage on Marvin Harrison the whole second half? I'm sure we would have liked to have it be Woolen, but Woolen was decomposing before our eyes. November 4th. Okay. So we actually have a lot of time. That's a phenomenal username, buddy. That's a special one right there. Well, Ian, there's a reason why we can't replicate that because that happened in the preseason. So it's not surprising. What you see in that preseason game that matters is like the philosophy, right? It is the philosophy. You know you're not going to get that kind of success against starters. Does Trevor Lawrence have a future in the NFL? Well, he has a $250 million contract that has barely kicked in, so yes. Like, what are we doing here? Come on, guys. You may as well ask, does Dak Prescott have a future in the NFL? Does Josh Allen have a future in the NFL? What are we doing, people? You watch anyone online talk about the Seahawks? Not a lot. I don't have time. I spend so much time making my own stuff. I don't have time, you know? Do you think the Seahawks can win a playoff game this year? I would hope that they can. I would certainly hope that they can. If they can't, then they did not do a good job building the team in the offseason. Trevor and the Jags have been so bad. No, they haven't been. They're 2-1, aren't they? Aren't they 2-1? Zach Seiler from the Finns. I'm not too familiar with Seiler. I don't know. I don't know too much about him, so maybe, but I can't speak to that. Stafford looks better than I thought he would be. I thought this would be like the 2010 Brett Favre season from Stafford.
Thanks for making all of these videos. I really enjoy them.
Base, thank you for the $20. I appreciate you. We'll be making a lot of videos tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be packed. I'm going to tell you guys right now, there might be like a new video uploaded every hour and a half tomorrow until the day's over because I've got so much stuff I got to get out. I got to get out a bunch of college football stuff. I got to get out PFF stuff. I probably need to do snap count stuff because nobody's going to care about the snap count data on Monday. So I got to do it tomorrow probably. Maybe I can push that off, but I definitely can't push off Pro Football Focus. I've tried to do this before. No one cares about PFF grades 4 days after the game. Over under 2.5 years as a starting quarterback for Darnold. I'm still going to say under. I feel like there's a plan in place. But at this point, I hope over because I don't like Milroe. And Darnold's been good. So I kind of hope it's over, but I feel like it'll be under. You know, I was right to pick an underdog in the AFC South. I think I picked the wrong underdog, though. Although it's not too late. I knew Houston was overrated, but I thought that Jacksonville was going to win. And I thought they were going to win with like 9 wins. Do you tap into politics often? Oh, yeah. I just don't talk about it on this channel. Like to see some more Arroyo? Well, yeah, I'd like to see more Barner too. I actually like Barner more than Arroyo. I'm actually higher on him. I think the Jags offense will figure it out. Liam Cohen's really smart. My only issue with Spoon is his open field tackling. He's a good tackler, though. Like, compared to other cornerbacks, he is a much better than typical tackler. Send it. Ah. I feel like McDonald blitzed more in this game than he's blitzed in the first 3 games of the year, which is weird because usually you don't have to blitz Kyler. Do you have hobbies like gym or anything? Yeah, of course. I stream on Twitch almost every night. Although lately I haven't been doing it every night because I've been so busy. But yeah, I stream on Twitch almost every night. I watch movies. I do go to the gym like 4 or 5 times a week. Carolina wouldn't do that, JG. Mike Jackson is good. They actually gave him some money this offseason. Jacob, there's no reason why the Mariners can't win the whole thing right now. They are playing like the best team in the league right now. That doesn't mean they will, but there is no reason to believe they're capped. Thoughts on the Switch 2? I don't have one. Right now, there are only 3 games worth playing on the Switch 2. And I don't really care about any of them. Mario Kart, I don't really care about Mario Kart. Donkey Kong looks fun, but I don't care that much. And the Kirby game. And I like Kirby games, but again, I'm not I'm not especially motivated to go out and play it. I'll get the Switch 2 when they release a game for it exclusively that I actually really want to play, like another... If they do another Fire Emblem game. Whenever they release another Fire Emblem, I will get a Switch 2. If it's exclusive to the Switch, that would move me. If they do the next Shin Megami Tensei game and it's Switch exclusive, which I don't think it will be, but if it was, that would get me to buy a Switch. If they do another Xenoblade game and it's Switch exclusive. How do you feel about the hold call on JSN? It was thin. Well, my favorite Seahawk is probably Charles Cross. My favorite Mariner is probably Julio. What do you think on Tyrese? I think he's been fine. A little bit frustrating, but he had a stunted off season, so it's not... I don't think it's anything to really be upset about. If the Bloodborne-inspired game is exclusive to Switch, I'm getting it. I don't know too much about it. All right, guys, so last couple minutes here, and then I'm going to turn the stream off, and I'm going to do other stuff. I have a video going live tomorrow on Bleacher Report, and I've got a lot of videos going live tomorrow on the YouTube channel. So, everybody have a good night. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Important win. I don't know if it was a great win, but like I keep telling people, these Thursday night games on the road, they get funky. And sometimes you just have to be happy the team pulled out the win. The Dusk Bloods is not on your list. Is that the Bloodborne-inspired game? I don't know too much about it. Thank you, Jacob. Has Evan Brown been good for the Cardinals? I believe he has, actually, yeah. They play him at left guard. It seems like he's better. Yeah, I think D-Law might be ready next week. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, one last thing before we leave. Let me tell you about Sleeper for 60 seconds. Before I go any further, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. If you're not using the Sleeper app this year for daily fantasy football, you are missing out. Take a look on the left side of your screen. Look at all the great stuff you can pick on over there. Let's put together an entry for this weekend. Here is mine. I've got Bijan Robinson scoring an anytime touchdown. Atlanta's offense is due for a breakout after last week's tremendous disappointment, scoring 0 points. I got Micah Parsons getting at least half a sack against the Cowboys. How is he not going to get a sack in that game? It's a revenge game for him. I got Rome Odunze with at least 59 receiving yards. He's feeling it right now. He's going up against the Raiders. Think he's going to do well. And I got DK Metcalf after 2 relatively slow games, getting at least 51 yards. Pittsburgh's having trouble running the ball. Time for DK to bust a big play or two. Get on over to Sleeper, put together your entry. You can get a $100 match on your first deposit with promo code SBN. Terms and conditions apply. Back to the video.